Hello there, and welcome to today's Tuesday chat at lunchtime for a change. I'm your host, Jo Stratford, owner and creator at Your Perfect Invite. We are a done-for-you wedding stationery company in our 12th year of business, I think, and this chat is coming to you live from our showroom in Kiln Farm in Milton Keynes. Today's chat aims to help you decipher the world of wedding photography, and we've handpicked the delectable Gareth and Sarah from Daydreamer Photography. This magnificent husband and wife team are the brains behind the gorgeous shots we'll show you later from Daydreamer Photography. And although we are lucky enough to have made friends with some fabulous photographers on the circuit, they're the company I wish we'd have known about when we got married. So with no further ado, I'm going to bring in today's guests, Gareth and Sarah.
Hey.
Hi, Gareth. Hello. Can you hear me?
We can, yeah. Hi.
Fabulous. How are you?
Good.
Yes,
How are you?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we're good. Thank you. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thanks for having.
So if you could start by telling us a little bit about Daydreamer Photography and how it's working. You know, you're a husband and wife team, so I can feel your pain in terms of working together sometimes. But if you just tell us a little bit about your company and how you got started, etc.
Well, I started Daydreamer Photography back in 2006. And I originally started off doing fashion and working in London on shows and stuff and doing family portraits and product photography and things. And then about 10 years ago, I did a few friends' weddings, fell in love with it. I then spent a year just building my wedding portfolio, doing couples weddings for free and stuff. And then went full-time just weddings 9 years ago. And then, yeah, Sarah's always sort of been behind the scenes doing things since we got together. And then came on full-time
4 years ago now.
So, yeah, and now she's the boss.
Worked her way to the top.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I suppose that's what you get for sleeping with the boss, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you guys are a really, as a couple, you're a really fun, laid back kind of couple, and that really shows in your photography, doesn't it? That's obviously the style that you go for?
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things that, like, we just want to capture the couples and their personalities and capture them on their day, enjoying themselves and having fun, and because it is one of those things, life is too short, and it's one of the most special days of your life that you want to.
And no one's wedding day is boring, so why would you want wedding photos? You know, you don't want wedding photos where you're stood being forced to smile at camera, because nobody's like that. We just want people to look at their phones and go, oh yeah, that's what our day was like. It was fun, it was enjoyable, and it's, at the end of the day, it's not about us in terms of, you know, how we set the photos. It's about them and making sure that the photos reflect what they're like as a couple. That's what's really important to us.
Yeah, that is, and I think that does come through. I'm going to try and share my screen now so I can share a few of your pictures, just because they're too gorgeous to be sat on my computer. But I think we'll see from this that it is, you know, it is a really casual, and the fun that people have on their wedding day really sort of comes through. Where are we? Here we go. Look. I love that you've got a Doctor Who style one with like an explosion in the back.
So that was made. So that's the fun box.
Okay.
And actually built the Tardis for the couple because they're huge.
You built the Tardis?
Yeah, we still have it, and we still have people that occasionally ask for it. And then the sparks behind are actually it's Sarah's on the camera and I'm behind the Tardis, and I've got wire wool in a whisk on a bungee that I've set alight and it's spun around, and so all the light that you see coming off are actually the sparks that are flying off.
That's an incredible amount of effort to go to for a photograph.
Well, something we pride ourselves on is that everything you see in the photo actually happened. So if there's bubbles, there were bubbles there. If there's sparks, there were sparks there. If there's fireworks, there were fireworks there. So we're not going to say hold this sparkler and then we'll put some, you know, make it look pretty, you know, because there's no point in that. We want you to see this actually happened on your wedding day. That was there. So that's what it looked like on the day.
Did you get Doctor Who coming out?
Sadly not.
No, but we did have one of the doctor's daughters singing at their wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love little touches like that really make it, you know, a couple's own kind of day. And you bring that in. You've got the little doggy here, so you obviously work really hard to make sure that those photos are representative of the couple. And
yeah, well, it's like Mark in the dog picture that he was their little boy, and he was just as much a part of their day as they were, and it was one of those things. That's why in that picture he's in focus, he's taken center light, and they're just blurred out in the background.
They're secondary to it all.
Yeah, we make sure that we like to meet up with our couples and really get to know them before the day, so that we can show them in their photos. And it's not on the day. We're not going, oh, you know, right, we need to think about what we could do. We already know before we get there that this is what they like, and therefore these are the things that we either need to get before the day to make sure we can make their wedding photos a little bit special for them, or these are the things we need to think about on the day.
We also sort of know their limits, so sometimes if they want to try something different or something new, we know how far we can sort of push that and go with that sort of thing, rather than on the day going, oh, should we give this a go, and then be like, oh no, too much for me, because we'll know by then what sort of things they'll be up for.
I guess that's really, I mean, we work really hard to build relationships with our clients, but we're never actually there with them on the day. Obviously, everything that we do is in the background and happens before the day, but actually building a relationship with your photographer is probably one of the key things to do, isn't it? Because you're there with them for the entire day. So you're almost like a guest at the wedding. And I suppose you've really got to build that relationship and get on with the couple, haven't you?
And that's how we want it to sort of be, and that's why we try and meet up with our couples as many times as possible. And we'll go for drinks, we'll go for meals, we'll go for dog walks, we'll do whatever you want, and just so that you also feel comfortable around us. Because the last thing we want on your wedding day is for you to be like, oh, they're the photographers and really aware of us. We just sort of want, oh, that's Gareth and Sarah, ignore them.
Yeah, no, that's a really good piece of advice, really, you know, because a lot of people do hate having their photographs taken, don't they? I mean, I'm one of those. I absolutely hate doing these kind of things is just horrific for me, because I hate seeing myself and photos and stuff. So if a couple does hate, you know, if they are camera shy, what kind of advice would you give to a camera shy couple?
I'd recommend like pre-wedding shoots are really good to have that sort of day before the actual wedding day, that you can go out with your photographer and take that time to, as well as capture some lovely pictures, just feel a little bit more relaxed around the camera. And I know it sounds strange, but on the wedding day, because there's so much going on, you won't feel that the camera's there as much as it is, because you're so distracted. It'll only be at the points when you're doing your more sort of formal shots that you'll be more aware of the camera. Yeah.
So in terms of like picking a style of photography for a couple, like how would you advise they sort of go back around? Do you find that couples tend to know the style they want, or is there more to it than that?
I think wedding shows are really important, because you do get to see a lot of photographers all in one go, and I think a couple will look at lots of photos. So go on the website, go on the galleries. If there's not enough, get in touch with the person, you know, email them and say, can you send me, ask if you can see a full wedding, because then you will see, you know, I'm happy to admit that we put our favorites on the gallery, the ones that that's a really nice shot. But you might want to see a full wedding, because then you'll see everything that's shot. But narrow it down. So narrow down, like, well, we like the bright style, or we like the more moody style, or some people like a more formal, some people like a more relaxed. So, and then once you've narrowed down your style, then narrow down the person. Yeah. So,
because at the end of the day, it's the photographer that you're booking. You could love their work, but you could hate them. And if you don't
connect with a good piece of advice.
Yeah. That's the most important, I think, is to make sure that you like both the style and the person, because if you don't like one or the other, you're not going to be happy. And on the day, they're going to be the person who spends the most time with you. We get there at stupid o'clock in the morning and we're there, you know, till stupid o'clock at night. And if you don't like us, that's going to be awful for you. So
because you'll just be waiting for us to leave, and we won't.
Yeah, we won't.
You're like, no, I am taking that picture.
That's our biggest piece of advice is you need to like the style, but you need to like the people or the person.
You've got to be able to click.
And you guys do a lot of shows, don't you? So that is obviously a great way of beginning to sort of get whether you are going to get on with your photographer and whether you're going to get on with the couple as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's that initial reaction. Like, people will meet you at shows and you'll be like, cool, great, but there's so much pressure at shows that even if you love them at the show, just go for a coffee, like, and just have a chat. Because you'll be more relaxed, and also the photographers will be more relaxed because they're not going to be like, oh,
there's so much going on at a show. And I think you do not have to book your photographer at a wedding show. You can book your photographer at the wedding show and then go away and think about it. Go, you know, no, I would never say to somebody, you have to book today, or, you know, I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh no, we're not very busy. Or if we are, you know, if we are busy, we'll tell you. You know, well, we're getting busy. I recommend you book sooner or later. But go away, think about it, meet up with them once more, whether that be on Zoom or have a phone call or go for coffee or a drink, and take your time. It's a massive decision. It is one of the bigger decisions for your wedding day. You know, it's the one that lasts the longest because you want to put your photos up on the wall. So just take your time thinking about the photography decision is what I would another big piece of advice I think I would say.
Definitely.
So how would you suggest then that the couple goes about booking their photographer? Obviously, you initially meet them perhaps at a show or find them online. Obviously, then sort of have that meetup that you talked about, and then it's what is it, a case of putting a deposit down then most of the time?
So I don't know how everybody works, but the way we work is if you definitely want to go ahead, it's a £250 deposit upon signing the contract, and basically that reserves us for your day. And you don't have to decide what package you want then and stuff, because we have a whole different range of packages. But our basic package, you get the two of us all day, and all your images on a wooden USB, and we don't put any time restrictions on things. So it's not like, depending on the package you go for will depend on how long we're there. We're there with you all day for as long as you want us to, and that's sort of like our basic building block. And so every package above that, it gets better, and you get more for your money and stuff. And it's the experiences are different and stuff, and so depending on what you go for would depend on what we get. But there's no pressure.
I mean, I love that about you guys, because as standard, you come with like 2 photographers, and usually that's quite an extra add-on with many photographers. But you two, come as a package, don't you?
Yeah, well, it used to be just me, and it used to be an add-on that if you wanted a second, I would offer that and things. Whereas since Sarah came on board 4 years ago, so the last 4.5 years, it's been just a solid standard.
I think it is something that more and more people are looking for as well, because now people want photos of them getting ready in the morning, but you don't want photos of one person getting ready. You know, there's 2 people in this wedding, so you want each of the couple getting ready, and you want to know that nothing really gets missed. If there's 2 of you, I'm with one person, Gareth with the other, and we don't really miss anything. While formal photos are going on, then I'm doing candid photos of the drinks reception. So
there's the candid ninja. She's always in a bush somewhere.
And that's another story, but
that's
not a lunchtime story, that one.
I mean, we got married 12 years ago now, so it was 2009, and we had 2 photographers, but we paid extra for 2 photographers. But actually, what I loved about that is the fact that I got to see Mark getting ready in the morning, which I would never have seen. So I got to see all of the shots of him with his dad and his best man and his ushers and all of that. And so I got to see all of their pre-ceremony bit. And obviously, as the bride, you're the last one to arrive at the ceremony, aren't you? So I would have, had I not had like 2 photographers, missed all of that. And whilst I had a guy called Max, I do wish I'd have known you 2 then. but so be it. When we get remarried again, hopefully you can do that again. So you know, I really cherish all those photographs, the ones that happened before the wedding.
Yeah, I think we've definitely, that's something we've come to learn that people are placing a lot more importance on, and so we're trying to go with it really. And like I say, the main thing for us is we just want our clients to be happy, and
we want to tell a story, and obviously that is the morning is part of the story. It's like, it's the nerves, it's the excitement, it's all those different emotions that are going on, because as soon as you're there down the aisle, no matter which end you're on, it's nervous. Like, I know on my wedding day, our wedding day, sorry.
My hour is the same thing.
I was crying, and it was one of those things that I couldn't get my breath, and I was like, and everybody was like, and I was making jokes. I was trying to calm everybody else down. And yeah, as soon as the music started, I lost it. And so there's me crying, there's Sarah walking down the aisle at me, giggling and laughing because she was nervous, but it just felt like nobody else was in the room. It was just us. And it's moments like that you can't explain until you've experienced it. And it's capturing those moments that you want to remember, and also people's expressions and stuff, because like, it's amazing what you miss when you're enjoying the day.
Oh God, yeah, that's so true. Yeah, that is so true. Like, just being able to look back on it 12 years later or whatever, and seeing, I mean, the biggest thing we wanted to capture from our day, and what we spoke to our photographer about, was just we wanted to remember the happiness of it. And so most of our photos are of just people laughing and smiling, and there are some brilliant photos of outside the church. My mother-in-law, well, my dad handed my mother-in-law a hip flask which had some whiskey in, and there's a great photo of her like downing the whiskey from this hip flask. And it's those moments really. So it's about picking a photographer that, if that's the kind of style that you want, that you know you're going to sort of get those candid moments.
Yeah. So we never really put our cameras down on the wedding day. The only time we stop taking photos is during the meal, because nobody wants a photo of them eating. That's when we go away, and we make sure all our equipment's okay, and we have a look through, and you know, see what we
dry off if I've fallen into a lake. That's happened on many occasions.
I would imagine it's got a dangerous job in parts, isn't it? Like trying to get these shots.
Yeah, I mean, not for me, because I tend to stay dry. But Gareth,
I will hang out windows and get into lakes and do all sorts of things.
You've never dropped your camera in a lake, have you?
Oh, I have, yeah.
Two, actually.
Twice.
Oh my life. And was that the end of the camera?
Pardon, say that again?
Was that the end of the camera?
Yeah, but we always travel with backup cameras.
That was my next question. You did?
Yeah, we always have backup cameras and stuff like that, and it didn't destroy any of the images.
And I guess that's actually a really good question for anybody who's looking for a photographer to ask their photographer, isn't it? So, do you have contingency plans for the day if any of your equipment fails?
And also, if you're ill on the day and stuff like that, like we work with a team, like we know so many photographers that are friends, that we all swap and exchange dates so that we all know who's available, and if somebody can swap out or assist last minute sort of stuff, because it's one of those things that if I went ill, Sarah would then take the lead role and would get a second in, and or vice versa, if Sarah was ill, we'd get somebody to cover her role and stuff. And so it's just being prepared like that.
But don't be afraid to ask those questions, because everyone, you know, you need to feel comfortable when you're booking. So never be afraid to ask any sorts of questions about,
like, are you insured? What do you do? Because it's one of those things that you want to be reassured just as much as they want you to be reassured, because the last thing any of us as photographers would want is for you to worry, especially after you hear so many horror stories.
Well, I think, and in this day and age now, obviously with everything we've all been through and how many things have happened in the last year and stuff, everybody wants that peace of mind about what could happen, because
it's like, for example, on Sunday, there was a lady that we were talking to, clicked really well with, and she turned around to us and goes, "What's your opinion on food? Do we have to feed you? We're like, that's completely up to you. Because obviously she had seen the news story, and we're like, don't worry, we're not going to delete your pictures.
That's a yeah. What news story was that? I haven't seen that.
So there was a photographer who,
was
to be fair, I think he was a family friend, but the
bride and groom refused to
feed him and said, no, you're not here to be a guest or eat, you're here to work. And so he deleted their wedding.
Yeah, no, he said, well, if you don't feed me, I'll delete your wedding pictures. And the groom went, fine, do that, not believing he would, and so he did, and it was all over the news. But yeah, it's one of those things that, again, it was on the news, so you don't know how true it is. But obviously hearing things like that do scare people, and so yeah, like, always talk to your photographers. Like, we never expect to be fed, but all we ask is, if you're happy to, awesome, let us know, and if not, that's absolutely fine as well. We'll bring a packed lunch.
Oh my god, that's terrible of the God, who would do that? That's quite a stressful thing to have happened. So
yeah, so
but we don't want people to worry. Like,
no, obviously no. So, aside from the venue, the photographer is likely to be one of the biggest expenditures on the day, isn't it? Sort of the biggest investment, so to speak. So, what kind of advice would you give couples in terms of their budget?
I mean, that's a difficult. Everyone's got a budget, and probably, I mean, try and stick within your budget is important. But if you do have a budget, don't beat around the bush. Tell us, because if we can. If we can make something work for you, we'll try our very, very hardest to make that happen. I mean, obviously, we say we have our set packages, but nothing is set in stone. If there's something you don't want from our packages, we can take it out. If you want to add something, we can do that. But rather than sort of saying,
it's all about
how much
guys.
Is it? And then us saying it's, and you thinking, oh, that's too much. If you've got a budget, then don't be afraid to say, because then maybe something can be done. Whereas if you don't tell us what your budget is, then we don't know. And we will then come back to you with a set price. Just don't be afraid.
And it's also one of those things, when I know photographers range in prices, and it all depends on the photographer, and because it's not, a lot of people think that it's just what you're paying is for that one day, whereas it's the months or years that you'll be getting to know the photographers before the actual day. And so you've got all those meetups and stuff like that, and then after the day it's the hours, or if not weeks, of editing, and then you've got album designs, you've got all these different things that because we edit every single image individually, rather than bulk editing them. We'll do a basic edit, but then we go through and we look at every single one, and we're not going to give you any image that we don't think that we're not happy with, or don't think that you would like. And again, that's one of the things that you get to know whilst you're like, that we get to know what sort of thing the couples would like and what they would find funny and not funny. Stuff, because like, yes, there are embarrassing pictures that we send people, but that's because we know they're gonna love it.
Absolutely. That's it's a key point as well, is it you don't look at the price and think, oh my god, that's just for one day. Actually, there's so much more work that goes in to photographing a wedding than just the actual 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. of the actual day, isn't there?
And I honestly, I mean, I think that's true of every single
supplier.
Aspect, every single supplier. So you guys, you're not just paying for this, the physical invite. You're paying for your experience, your time, your everything,
the hours. Bless you.
I mean, nice of you to mention the invite. Do you sort of focus on capturing little details like that? Do you go to the extent of getting the smaller details?
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. So in the morning we will spend our time, we'll take all like outfits, so dress, suit, shoes, any accessories, things like that. And obviously we try to focus on favors, cake, room decoration and stuff like that. But also the little things, like, so if say the girls in the morning are drinking prosecco or something, we'll try and get photos of that, because that You know, sometimes that Prosecco has a real meaning to them, the glasses they're using, things like that. So we try and take photos of everything that we see, and then as we're going through the day, we'll know if that's an important part of it, or if that's something that's actually just something the venue had, and maybe that's not quite so important. We try and take photos of absolutely everything, so that in case it's important,
nothing's missed.
It's all part of your day. Like, no matter how small it is, it's all a big key, because sometimes people will spend hours on the smallest of details, and it's one of those things that, again, for the couple as well, like everybody's just seeing that on the day, and they might only see it for 10 seconds, but it's taken the couple 4 months to build or do and stuff like that, and so it's that time and personalization that we want to capture, because it's part of your day.
That's such a good acknowledgement from you, and an understanding from you, that to recognize how much time and effort the couple go into planning their day, and to make sure you capture that. So is there sort of is there any advice you'd give to couples before the day, in terms of, like, can they do anything to prepare for their day? Would you advise like a list of photographs? I mean, I know for my sister's wedding, we didn't do a list, and we used a kind of a friend of somebody I worked with at the time, because it was a bit, she got married quite young and didn't have the budget necessarily for a photographer. So we didn't put a list of photographs together, and forgot to get a picture of the 5 of us in our family. Which my mum has never forgiven us for. But luckily with Photoshop, I've managed to engineer one photo that looks like she was in it. But is it, you know, putting a list of photographs together before the day, is that something that you'd advise?
We highly recommend it, and we always make sure we meet up with our couples a week or 2 before, where we can sit down and go through everything and talk about all the details, and we'll write a list there, or we'll get them to go away and think about it and email us a list, so that with then on the day we have a physically printed list that I laminate, and that we check, and we get all those pictures that you guys definitely want, because the last thing that we would want is for you to go away and get your pictures back and then be like, oh, I didn't get that picture I absolutely wanted. And it's also one of those things that just because you've given us that list doesn't mean you can't on the day go, oh, can we do this? Or your friends and family can't go, oh, can we get a picture together? It's like, yeah, of course, we're here. We're here to capture everything. Like, you want a picture, we'll take it.
Great. So in terms of the preparation for the day, then your key pieces of advice would really be then to make sure you meet up with your photographer beforehand, maybe do like a pre-shoot to make sure that you're comfortable sort of getting those images together, putting a list together. Is there any sort of any other piece of advice you'd like to sort of give couples when planning their photography?
I mean, that's a
just have fun.
One.
Like them. Make sure you can have a laugh with them. That'd probably be a key feature. Just make sure you feel comfortable.
And don't be
I bet you guys have made loads of friends, haven't you, over the years through doing. I mean, I know we have. We've got loads of people that we've met through doing the job that have become friends, and I bet that's probably even more so with photographers, isn't it?
Yeah, we're so lucky. Like we've become friends with so many of our couples, and we like to become friends with our couples, because it is one of those things that you spend so long before the actual day getting to know each other and stuff. You then spend all day together, and then after that, like, it's sort of like, oh, what happened? And we had such a great relationship, and we've got some of our couples that have become some of our closest of friends, and like, they've had kids, and like, we've stayed in touch, and we go on play dates, and we still go for drinks and coffee, and then what's also, we're always touched when our previous couples recommend us to their friends and family members and stuff like that, because we then get to experience another day with them, but on a different side, and it's really what's the word?
It's just heartwarming, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, just yesterday we had a really lovely message from one of the first weddings that I shot, actually. How many years ago?
Yeah,
4 years ago. This lovely couple got married, and we had a message saying that his is that her brother?
Her brother's getting married.
Her brother's getting married, and they'd like to use us to be their photographers. And I mean, so we're 4 years on, and it's just it's lovely. And they've come back to us, and it, it's just
it
nice
means a lot.
know.
It really does mean a lot.
they say
Oh,
that
that's lovely. We talked about going to shows and things before in terms of sort of getting to know your photographer and meeting your photographer. But actually, that's a really good point as well, sort of asking for those personal recommendations.
yes, definitely. Yeah,
it is always nice when you get to someone coming to you from recommendation.
It is. I mean, we had a wedding that was shot, I mean, what, 5 years ago, probably. And we recently shot a wedding of
one of their other friends who had booked us from being at their wedding, and then at this couple's wedding, one of their friends who were at both weddings have now just got engaged, and they've booked us, and it's lovely.
And that means to us as well, because knowing that people like us that much, and are that happy with our work, but also that gives us even more of a chance to build up a relationship with the couples, because
they've seen us how we work in the past. They know what we're like on a wedding day, as well as they getting to know us, which is great. And
we've met them a few times, so we've already got that rapport with them, which we can only build on. So that's really lovely. It is really heartwarming actually to know. But yeah, definitely.
It means you're doing something very right as well.
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah.
We like to hope so.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you guys for joining me for the chat. If anyone wants to get in touch with you or follow you, how can they do that?
We've got our website, which is daydreamerphotos.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We're always
and then
out and about.
All our contact info's on there. So if you've got any questions, then drop us an email. Our email address is weddings@daydreamerphotos.com. And we are always happy to answer any questions, to meet up if anybody wants to meet up and get to know us better, and love to meet new people. And drop us a follow on Instagram. That's always a good way to
Instagram's like made for photographers, isn't it? I mean, it's just
we have automatic. We don't have to take the photos of
we've
our
already
stuff
done them.
We've already done it. So.
I know. It's like literally Instagram. It's quite difficult for somebody who doesn't like take photos all the time to love Instagram, but it is literally definitely give these guys a follow on Instagram, because there are some amazing pictures. But thank you ever so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
You're welcome. I will speak to you I'll speak to you probably at another fair very soon.
Awesome. We'll see you soon, lovely.
And a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So there you go. That was Gareth and Sarah from Daydreamer Photography, and we thank you for joining us today on our earlier than usual Tuesday chat. My name's Jo Stratful, and as I say, I've been coming to you live from our studio in Kiln Farm in Milton Keynes. So if you do need help with your invitations or any element of wedding stationery, then please feel free to get in touch either via our website at yourperfectinvite.co.uk, or you can follow us on Instagram as well at Your Perfect Invite, and on our Facebook page at Your Perfect Invitation. But thanks for joining us for now, and we will see you again soon.